Hello, and thanks for joining me here today. My name is Kevin Seaver. I'm an experienced, trusted lawyer since 1991. We help you successfully fight DCF. Today I want to tell one of my favorite stories recently. I had a nurse come in and see me. She had a neglect allegation, which meant the job she had as a school nurse would be no longer. The neglect allegation would have knocked her out of the box working in the endeavor that she loved so much, being a school nurse. Very simple story. She took full, complete ownership. It readily admitted she made a mistake. I considered it an honest mistake. She gave a child too much insulin. It was the first time she'd ever been at this school. She was filling in. Someone was sick, they called her in. First time she'd ever been at school. Didn't know the child, didn't know the syringe she was using. And the syringe was as antiquated, it was kind of like a dinosaur. And she misread because she had never used such a syringe before. And therefore, knowing that she had made a mistake, she instantaneously went into the protocol you do when you make such a mistake. And she made sure the child stayed conscious, called the hospital where the child went, couldn't reach anybody there, then called an ambulance to bring her to a different hospital closer to where the school was, and the child went to the hospital. And so DCF, because she gave the child too much insulin, filed neglect allegations against her. And so now we had to back up and back off from this and look at it from different angles, every angle we could. And so we made a plan and a strategy. And the client, much to her credit, followed that strategy, followed that plan to a T. And that's sometimes very difficult to do, but you gotta have a strategy, you gotta have a plan. DCF's always got a strategy, always got a plan. They're gonna support the allegation against you, and they're like, boom, you're done. Not so fast. So we filed for a fair hearing within 30 days. And we got a fair hearing date. And before that fair hearing date, we marshaled all the evidence and gave it to a doctor, and gave it to a nurse, and gave it to another expert, and various people look at and come up with, was this really neglect, or was this just simply an honest mistake? The nurse stayed with the child until the ambulance came, and the EMTs took the child to make sure she stayed conscious, gave her the glucose, all the different protocols that are required when someone has too much insulin. She then followed back up at the hospital, made sure the child was okay. The child went home that same day, later on in the afternoon, and was in school the next day. I use a basketball euphemism. No harm, no foul. And that's what happened here. The doctor and the nurse, as well as my experts, said it's an honest mistake. Anyone could have done this. Insulin is one of the most common misadministered type of medication out there. Happens all the time. That's what all the research and all the journalism showed us. The national medical guides and journals and so forth and so on. With that said, prior to the fair hearing, I submitted all the documentation, the doctor, the nurse, my investigation by my expert, as well as a written brief as to why this was an honest mistake, no harm, no foul, that we're all mere mortals. We got blemishes, flaws, and imperfections, that this was an error and omission and an honest mistake. I sent it to the area director, who called me late one afternoon on a Friday. Now, she didn't have to read any of this. She didn't have to call me back, but on a Friday, and she called me back. I was thrilled. And she told me how she agreed that she disagreed with me. And I said, that's okay. You're going to agree we disagree, as ladies and gentlemen. But I asked her just to look at all the information I gave her, because I know she's busy, if she had an opportunity, please, and speak to me on Monday. She called me back on Monday. Again, she didn't have to do that either, but she did. And she says, Kevin, I got one more thing I want to know about your client. Has she ever had anything on her medical license, an error and omission or a mistake like she did here? And I instantaneously said no, because I'd asked the same similar question in my first interview. But I said to her, let me do my due diligence, because that was then, this is now. Let me make sure there's nothing on her license. I will get that, send it to you, and I'll see the steps so you can do your due diligence, which I know you will at DCF, to follow back up and see if there was ever any mistakes made by my client. So we did that. A couple hours later, I heard back from the area director. Hallelujah. She says, we're going to reverse this supported decision. There will be no fair hearing. And I was stunned. However, when the system works, it works. And what you got to do, and I believe this in my heart, my soul, my mind, my body, there is nobody over at DCF, whether it's a commissioner, an area director, you're a clinical manager, you're a program manager, supervisor, social worker, attorney, or anyone over there who doesn't want to do the right thing. If you give them the information They'll do the right thing. But many times, we don't do the right thing. We throw rocks at DCF, and we complain about them. And sometimes justifiably so, sometimes not. But I got to give credit where credit's due. You got to call it as you see it. You got to be fair. Hats off to that area director for having the chutzpah, the backbone, the balls, the gumption, whatever you want to call it, to unsupport this. It's a win-win. The department has limited resources, as does my client. The department avoided a fair hearing, which would have taken time, energy, and effort, and money, not only out of the department, but even from my vision viewpoint, also my client. If this video was helpful to you, please share it with your family and friends. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I thank you for watching.